Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a beer from Deviant Wolfe. This is Nefarious Nebulas, which actually sounds like I don't know, for some reason that resonates like New England IPA for my mind, but hey, this is their Hefeweizen. So Deviant Wolfe is a brewery in local Sanford. So actually, now with the highway built, I actually get there in like 20 minutes, so pretty good. Before it was like way longer. Now there's like a straight shot highway and get to Sanford most conveniently. Not much around me otherwise. So, well, yeah. Well, anyway, so beer looks more like a modern. Did I have it tilted? Ooh, you know what? Let's see if I do one of these. No, I don't think it's gonna be one of those. Like, you know, even just a little bit of like rousing. Yeah. Yeah. This is. I mean, I assume it's not can conditioned. I don't know what the yeast treatment is on it, but this is one of like sort of more what I noticed with like American takes on Hefeweizen, like the recipe is quite there, but then I think so much of, at least in my mind, Hefeweizen involves like the actual yeast in the glass, right? Causing this really, I think it's like both a combination of the use of wheat, but also the yeast also in the bottle or can. So this looks sort of like a Kristallweizen, right? Kristallweizen is actually quite clear, but this is like somewhere in between Hefeweizen and Kristallweizen. Beer comes in that kind of classic kind of Hefeweizen look. People think it's always like so pale. For me, this is like a solid, medium to deep gold color, right? Like medium minus haze to it. Wonderful eggshell white head. On the aroma, pretty nice, pretty intoxicating. I get a little bit of that kind of sweet banana flavor, clove. There's this nice kind of like so with the use of wheat, malted wheat, there's this just kind of like um, almost like a honey nut Cheerio thing. There's like maybe a little bit of honey, but also that kind of like Cheerio note. Like it's just it. I mean, obviously it's like malted wheat used in Hefeweizen, but like it has this kind of, I guess, what they're using in oats like to make cereal. Yeah, Cheerios is oats, right? I think. Anyway, you guys let me know. Yeah. So definitely that kind of Hefeweizen kind of like a malt character, but like a combination of like a little bit of bubble gum, a little bit of sweet banana, a little bit of clove. That's pretty spot on. Yeah. Um, this is what I mean. I sell a ton of Hefeweizen that we have on draft at Sanford Brewing. Sort of similar to this. It just has this kind of like clarity and crispness to it. It's almost like a common. It's almost as if you were comparing hazy juicy IPA or New England IPA with that fluffiness and blah blah blah, and then you just like West Coasted it, right? But like with a similar recipe. So what happens when you quote unquote West Coasted up is that it has less this kind of like bodacious mouthfeel, more of a drier finish. I think these beers probably finish around the same finishing gravity, but its impression of sweetness, like it finishes drier because it's a little more crisp and clean. And the carb is also a little bit different because like with some of these beers, there's a combination of fluffiness on the mouthfeel, but also the high carb. So it's like chewy and spritzy, which is like a really fun carb combination, which makes Hefeweizen so delicious. Here, this honestly is like not very far from what I have on draft, which I guess is what happens when you just make Hefeweizen in a non-traditional manner that is not supposed to be that is not bottle conditioned without all the yeast and all the stuff in it. Like I guess it's sort of what Kristallweizen tastes like. Yeah. Huh. You know what? I should maybe I don't know if it's in the market for me right now, but Stefan does make a Kristallweizen, and Kristallweizen is pretty much what I think this is. It's sort of like this quote unquote filtered or pared down version of Hefeweizen. It is literally the same recipe from what I understand. It's just cleared up. And this is obviously cleared up. I mean, like, there's no hate. Like, there's barely haze on this. I mean, fine, obviously I can't see right through it, but like, Hefeweizen is generally just like completely opaque. This I can like obviously like I can see the shine of my finger through it. So it's quite nice. I mean, on the palate, they get a little bit of sweet banana flavor, a little bit of that clove action. Um, what I noticed is that sometimes the malt tends to show up more because you don't have the fluffiness. It doesn't seem as like weedy. So instead, it has more of this kind of, again, like that kind of like actually not honey nut, just plain Cheerio flavor, like that like oat flavor, that plain cereal oat Cheerio flavor, and tends to, at least for me, like a little bit it dominates a little bit, like that flavor instead of a fluffiness and a fluffy, like like brioche and Wonder Bread, like there's a fluffiness to it. Here it's more of like a crunchy cereal thing, which obviously is a weird analogy because obviously this is all liquid, but it's that kind of impression, right? Like you're tricking your brain with the combination of mouthfeel, flavor, carbonation. Like you sort of trick your brain into fluffiness. Here, without that kind of carb and mouthfeel and chewiness, you're sort of like stuck into thinking it's a crunchy cereal, if that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it tastes pretty good. It's quite refreshing. I mean, if you like if you for me, one of the great things about Hefeweizen is all those characteristics that I just like are missing from this. So, not really quite for me. Like I just feel like if I want to drink something like this, like clean, mm, I mean, it does have expressive yeast character. So if I wanted to drink something like this, I would go a little bit more intense, right? I would maybe shoot for something like a, because honestly, like Hefeweizen, no offense, it really is Belgian beer. I'm actually should look at the curiosity about the secret and all that, like the history and all that stuff. But really, it is just like it's Belgian beer. It's yeast expressive, blah 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 beer. When you get these esters, phenols, they're just so definitive to Belgian beer. Um, if I wanted to drink something like this, I would go just to Belgium, right? I would just have something like a Belgian blonde ale or a Belgian golden strong or triple or or if you want to pare it down, if you want to like instead of Hefeweizen, if you want to go lighter, I'd go like Helles or Pilsner or Kolsch, right? You're sort of in between somewhere or something like German light and crisp, which is here, like right, sort of refreshing around 5%. But then like it has ester and phenols, but doesn't really go all the way. So it's like sort of just like a tease of both, and it doesn't really like it's crisp, but also like a little bit it's crisp, but also like phenolic and estery. If that's your game, you want to sit in the middle of that, this is perfect for you. For me, it just has me desiring more, right? It just has me desiring either more alcohol, more oomph, more dryness, more Belgian equality, more esters, more phenols, or you go the other way and pare down that ester and phenol and get really crisp for me, right? Go Kolsch, Helles, um, pills, whatever, blah blah. So sort of like sits in that both middle of both worlds. Then again, that reminds me, maybe I should just look for some Crystal Weizen and sort of review it for you guys, see what I think. This one for me gets, I mean, the beer is fine. This is not what I intend when I want Hefeweizen. So 83. 83. But again, nothing wrong with the beer. It's hard to give a beer like a sort of bad rating for that reason, but for me, just not something for me. So 83. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Later.